Hello, devoted fans of Days of Our Lives. Welcome back to the TV Days Drama Digest, where we dive deep into the emotional roller coaster that is Salem's daily saga. Today, June 10th, 2025, we bring you an exhaustive, heart-pounding recounting of the events that unfolded in our beloved town, where love, loss, and secrets intertwine like the roots of an ancient oak. The air in Salem is heavy with grief, hope, and unresolved questions as the residents grapple with a monumental loss that shakes the very foundation of their community. If you missed today's episode, buckle up because we're about to take you on a vivid journey through the tears, triumphs, and turmoil that define this unforgettable day. For those who want to see it all unfold, the full episode is available to stream, but for now, let us guide you through the drama with every gut-wrenching detail. Salem is no stranger to tragedy, but today, the town is cloaked in a sorrow so profound it feels as though the sun itself refuses to shine. The community has gathered to bid a final farewell to John Black, a man whose larger-than-life presence has left an indelible mark on the hearts of everyone in Salem. His legacy is one of courage, love, and unyielding loyalty, but also of secrets and struggles that have shaped the lives of those around him. As the town mourns, the day is anything but ordinary, with awakenings, confrontations, and unanswered questions threatening to unravel the fragile threads holding Salem together. Let's delve into the stories that define this day, where every moment pulsed with raw emotion and high-stakes drama. A farewell to a legend. John Black's memorial. The morning in Salem dawns cold and gray, as if the heavens themselves are mourning the loss of John Black. The church, a familiar sanctuary for Salem's residents, is filled to the brim with somber faces, each person clutching memories of a man who was a friend, a father, a husband, and a hero. The pews are lined with black-clad mourners, their eyes red-rimmed from tears shed in private and now in public. At the front, a large portrait of John stands beside a simple oak casket, his warm smile a cruel reminder of the vibrancy now lost. The scent of lilies fills the air, their sweetness clashing with the bitterness of grief. Marlena Evans, John's beloved wife, stands at the podium, her voice trembling but resolute as she delivers a eulogy that cuts through the silence like a blade. John was more than a man, she begins, her hands gripping the edges of the podium for strength. He was a force. A storm that swept into our lives and changed us forever. He loved fiercely, fought bravely, and never backed down from what he believed was right. Her words paint a vivid picture of John's life, his daring escapades, his unwavering devotion to his family, and the quiet moments of tenderness that defined him just as much as his heroics. The crowd hangs on her every word, some nodding in agreement, others sobbing quietly into handkerchiefs. But as Marlena speaks, the camera pans to the faces in the crowd, revealing the complex tapestry of emotions woven into this moment. Brady Black, John's son, sits rigidly, his jaw clenched as he fights to maintain composure. Beside him, Belle Black, John's daughter, clutches her husband Sean's hand, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. The weight of their father's absence is palpable, a void that no words can fill. Friends like Steve Johnson and Kayla Brady, stalwarts of Salem, sit in silent solidarity, their own memories of John flashing through their minds like a montage of better days. Yet, this is Salem, where no farewell is ever simple. The ceremony, meant to be a solemn tribute, is poised on the edge of chaos, waiting for the spark that will ignite the next chapter of drama. That spark arrives in the form of a man who has been absent from Salem's spotlight for far too long, Brady. Beau's awakening. A hero returns in a hospital room on the outskirts of Salem. A miracle unfolds that sends shockwaves through the town. Brady, the rugged, charismatic heartthrob who has been locked in a coma for months, opens his eyes to a world that has changed in his absence. The sterile white walls of the hospital room are a stark contrast to the vibrant life he once led, and as his vision clears, he sees the face of his beloved Hope Brady hovering over him, her eyes brimming with tears of relief and fear. "Bo, you're awake," Hope whispers, her voice a fragile thread of hope and disbelief. She reaches for his hand, her fingers trembling as they intertwine with his. For months, she has sat by his bedside, whispering stories of their past, praying for the day he would return to her. Now, that day has come, but it is bittersweet, overshadowed by the tragedy that has befallen Salem. Bo's recovery is nothing short of miraculous, but it comes with a price. His body is weak, his mind clouded by fragments of memories that refuse to coalesce. Hope, ever the protector, decides to shield him from the news of John Black's death, fearing it will overwhelm him in his fragile state. "You need to rest, Bo," she insists, her voice firm but laced with tenderness. "There's time to catch up on everything else." But Bo, even in his weakened state, senses the weight of her unspoken words. His piercing blue eyes search her face, and he knows she's hiding something. It isn't long before the truth finds its way to him. A chance overhearing of a nurse's conversation reveals the devastating news. John Black, his friend and brother-in-arms, is gone. The revelation hits Bo like a freight train, and despite Hope's protests, he insists on attending the funeral. "I owe him that much," he says, his voice hoarse but determined. John was family. The scene at the church when Bo arrives is one of raw, unfiltered emotion. The mourners, already steeped in grief, gasp as Bo stumbles through the doors, supported by Hope and his own sheer willpower. His presence is a jolt of electricity, a reminder of the resilience that defines Salem's spirit. Marlena, mid-eulogy, falters at the sight of him, her words catching in her throat. "Bo," she breathes, and the two share a moment of silent understanding, their shared loss binding them together. Bo's tribute to John is simple but profound. Standing before the congregation, his voice unsteady but filled with conviction, he speaks of John's loyalty, his courage, and the bond they shared through countless trials. "John Black wasn't just a man you knew," Bo says, his eyes sweeping the room. "He was a man you felt, deep in your soul. And he'll never really be gone, because he's a part of us all." His words resonate, drawing tears from even the most stoic attendees, and for a moment, Salem is united in their shared love for a man who is larger than life. ## Rachel's turmoil. A granddaughter's grief, while Bo's return brings a flicker of hope to the memorial. Not everyone is finding solace in the day's events. Rachel Black, John's granddaughter, is a storm of emotions, her grief compounded by a tangled web of memories and guilt. At only 17, Rachel is caught in the throes of adolescence, a time when emotions are already volatile, but the loss of her grandfather has pushed her to the edge. Rachel stands apart from the crowd, her dark hair falling over her face like a curtain, shielding her from the prying eyes of Salem's residents. She clutches a small locket, a gift from John, its worn surface a testament to the years of love it represents. But as she watches the mourners, her thoughts are not only of her grandfather, but of a night that haunts her, the night E.J. DiMera was shot. The memory is a jagged wound in Rachel's mind. She was there, in the shadows, when the gunshot rang out, the sound echoing like a death knell. Johnny DiMera, her cousin and confidant, was at the center of that night's chaos, and every time Rachel is near him, the memories come flooding back. Was it the pain of losing EJ, the trauma of witnessing violence, or something deeper, something she can't yet name? The questions gnaw at her, and her grief for John becomes intertwined with her unresolved feelings about that fateful night. As the memorial service continues, Rachel's distress becomes impossible to ignore. She bolts from the church, her sobs echoing in the quiet courtyard outside. Johnny, sensing her pain, follows her, his own heart heavy with guilt and sorrow. "Rachel, talk to me," he pleads, his voice soft but urgent. "You don't have to go through this alone." But Rachel is a fortress, her walls built high to protect a heart that feels too much. "You don't get it, Johnny," she snaps, her voice breaking. "Every time I see you, I see that night. I see the blood, the chaos, and I can't make it stop." Her confession hangs in the air, a raw admission of the trauma that binds them. Johnny, torn between his own grief and his need to help Rachel, reaches out, but she pulls away, leaving him standing alone in the fading light. Chanel's crossroads, a future in question elsewhere in Salem. Chanel DiMera is grappling with her own questions, though they are of a different nature. Having recently stepped away from the adoption process with her husband Johnny, Chanel finds herself at a crossroads, her heart torn between the life she envisioned and the uncertainties that lie ahead. The decision to pause their adoption journey was not made lightly, and now, as she watches the town mourn, she can't help but wonder what the future holds not only for herself but for others in Salem. Chanel's thoughts turn to Tate Black and Sophia Choi, a young couple whose lives have been upended by the unexpected arrival of a child. Tate, John's grandson, is navigating the challenges of impending fatherhood, while Sophia, fierce and determined, is determined to carve out a future for their family. Chanel, ever the empathetic soul, feels a kinship with Sophia, remembering her own struggles to find her place in Salem's complex social landscape. As Chanel sits in Horton Town Square, sipping coffee and watching the world go by, she reflects on the choices that have defined her life. What does it mean to build a family in a place like this? She wonders aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. Salem, with its endless drama and secrets, is both a home and a battleground, and Chanel knows that Tate and Sophia's journey will be anything but easy. Yet, there is a spark of hope in her musings, a belief that love, however complicated, can endure. Chanel's introspection is interrupted by a chance encounter with Sophia, who is pushing a stroller through the square. The two women share a moment of connection, their conversation a delicate dance of support and curiosity. "How are you holding up?" Chanel asks, her eyes searching Sophia's face for signs of strain. Sophia's smile is weary but genuine. "One day at a time," she replies. "Tate and we're figuring it out. But it's hard, you know? Especially with everything going on." Their exchange is a reminder of the resilience that runs through Salem's veins, a thread that connects the town's residents even in their darkest moments. Chanel, inspired by Sophia's strength, resolves to find her own path forward, whether it leads to motherhood or another destiny entirely. As the sun sets over Salem, the events of June 10th, 2025, leave an indelible mark on the town's collective soul. John Black's memorial is more than a farewell. It is a reckoning, a moment when the past and present collide, forcing the residents to confront their grief, their secrets, and their hopes for the future. Beau's return, Rachel's turmoil, and Chanel's questions are but pieces of a larger puzzle, one that continues to unfold with every heartbeat in Salem. For those who missed today's episode, the full story is available to stream, a vivid tapestry of emotion and drama that captures the essence of Days of Our Lives. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.